All right, so this is a continuation of Baruch, the Alter Rebbe's father. Just to rehash a little bit, he ran away from home when he was 14. He is now 17 of 3 years of wandering. Now he returns home to his family. He's in Vitebsk, and Avram the gardener, who sort of saved him, now becomes his father-in-law to be, and he's going to marry Avraham the gardener's daughter. Now, he was planning to go to Beshenkovich to learn with the Rav of Beshenkovich. Last week I pronounced it Beshnikovich, so excuse me for pronouncing it wrong. Avram Zev of Beshenkovich. But when he was there, he met his brother-in-law, Yosef Yitzchak, and he realized that his brother-in-law was a very learned person, and his brother-in-law convinced him to stay in Vitebsk and gave him a path of learning. And he gave him books of Mussar to read. And I'll tell you the books that he read. His brother-in-law gave him the book of Rabbeinu Yonah's Shaarei Teshuvah, Reishis Chachma, Hilchos Teshuvah, Tractates Rosh Hashanah, and Yonah. And those books made a significant impression on him. And then he started recalling experiences that happened to him and how he's changed as a person. So we said last time that Baruch was a little bit of a strange individual, though he didn't say it that way, and the Frierdiker Rebbe didn't present it that way. But now Baruch is realizing how his way of serving Hashem was wrong, and he brings back recollections of things that happened to him that he is now embarrassed of after learning these books of Mussar. And he gives a couple examples. So he was in Yanovich, and he was in Shul, and he would be in the base medrash, he would learn, and all of a sudden, two parents come in, and they're crying their eyes out, and they're going to the Aron Kodesh, and they're pouring their heart out to the Aron Kodesh because a terrible thing had happened. So what happened? They couldn't have children for a long time, and they finally had a daughter who was the apple of their eye. And they were so pleased that they were finally able to have a child, and they had a daughter. She was finally 20 years old, and she gets engaged, and she's going to marry a wonderful, wonderful boy. And the wedding is all planned, and they're a wealthy family, and they invite everyone from Yanovich to come to the wedding. So this is going to be a big wedding. And what happens on the day of the wedding? She gets deathly ill, and they think she's going to die. So they go to Shul, and they're pouring their eyes out in prayer. And because everyone in town was going to be there, they come into Shul, and they take out Tehillim, and they're davening. And how does that make Baruch feel? He remembers how he felt. He felt like, boy, this is annoying. How am I going to learn when all these people are here making a ruckus? And how am I going to learn when everybody's, crying out? I feel bad for them, but boy, this is disturbing. This is really disturbing my learning. He didn't really feel any connection for them, and other than just a superficial sympathy, he really didn't feel for the situation that they're in. So they poured out their hearts in prayer, and miracle of miracles, she got better. And because she got better, they made a big Sudas Hada in Shul. They brought in a lot of food, made the tables very beautiful, and they had a beautiful Sudas Hada in Shul, and everybody came to celebrate. And how did he feel about this celebration, about her getting much better? How did he feel? He felt annoyed. Oh my God, how am I going to learn? How am I going to study Torah when we have all this commotion going on and everybody's eating and making noise? I can't learn with this. So he doesn't sit down and partake in the Suda. He leaves and he goes into another room to learn. Because as far as he's concerned, he's not involved with what's going on with other people. He just wants to learn. And then another situation happens. There's a man in town called Avram ben Yamin. Now, he is a learned person, and he's very God-fearing, and he's a wonderful person and very happy, but he's very poor because he has the very tough job of being a wool comber. He has to comb wool. So they shear the sheep, but the wool is dirty and he has to clean it, and it's a very hard job. It takes a lot of time and he doesn't make a lot of money. He has 7 children and he has to support his 2 parents and his wife's 2 parents. So he's really struggling financially, but he gives tzedakah generously anyways. And he sent his 15-year-old son, Shleimki, away to yeshiva. And he has his other boys in cheder. And he will not take loans for anybody. He will not take any tzedakah from anybody. But he's extremely happy. His house, they describe it as dilapidated. It's falling apart. It's sunken into the ground. They have poles holding up the walls, and their Shabbos meal consists of everybody having a piece of bread with a bowl of water, and that's the soup. But he's very happy. And people ask him, Avram Binyamin, how are you doing? He says, what do I have to worry about? Shleimki is away in yeshiva. My other boys are in cheder, and the younger boys are learning how to be hungry. But he was very joyous. So one day, Baruch is learning in shul, and what happens? They bring Avram Binyamin in shul completely beat up. He's beat up to the point that he's unrecognizable, and he's almost in a coma, and it's not clear that he's going to live. So what happened? They found him on the edge of town, on the streets. We talked to this about, there's a lot of robbers in these towns. Clearly robbers got to him and beat him to an inch of his life. So he's in shul, the family is in there, they're crying, it's pandemonium, everybody loves him. The doctor comes in and says, he's too sick to be moved. We have to keep him in shul. And he remains in shul for 3 days until he gets better. And how does Baruch feel when he sees this person who's beat up and he's in shul and he can't get better, and he says, oh my God, how am I going to learn Torah? Boy, is this really bothering my Torah learning? So finally, it's right before Pesach, after 3 days, he's well enough to go home, and he's able to go home and spend Pesach with his family. And how does he feel then? He feels, whew, boy, it's nice that he's not here anymore, and it's nice that I can learn quietly. He really didn't feel for him. And then Avram Binyamin had a beautiful Pesach, but now, after reading these books of Mussar, he realizes, boy, I was really wrong. I wasn't serving Hashem right. I didn't have any feeling for other people. And he learned to now, he says, at least I feel I'm on the right path. Meaning he hasn't changed yet, but he's taking the right steps to being a caring person and caring about other people. Now, what's also interesting about this, his brother-in-law, Yosef Yitzchak, who is a follower of the Baal Shem Tov, he doesn't know that. He didn't go to him and said, listen, I really need to tell you what's wrong with you. You really have problems the way you're relating to people. Let me tell you what's wrong with you and how to get better. He doesn't do that. He sort of gives him the books and he leads him in the right direction in order for him to fix himself. And now this is where the book really begins, and we see how Baruch is now working on himself and looking at his past 3 years of life and realizing he didn't really live the right way. And now he has to choose if he wants to be a chassid or if he wants to be a litfish. And that's where the book takes us next.
It's all for the